morning, everyone. My name is Josh Blaylock, and this is the very late Skype for Business recap. I was supposed to deliver this on Friday. For those of you that are regular watchers, you know this is a Friday show. I recap everything going on during the week, and this is the first Friday where I did not deliver on Friday. I made it Christmas Day, which was Friday, New Year's Day, which was Friday. But this last Friday was my kid's birthday, and that was a pretty big day, and we actually had family come into town to stay with us during that time. So what can I say? It was a huge day. There was a lot going on. It was a very busy weekend, and early Monday morning was the first chance I got to really come up for air and start talking about what happened in the whole week prior. So I have made a lengthier than usual list. I'm gonna try my best to stick to my 15-minute goal, but no promises on this one. I got a few things to talk about here, so bear with me. Grab another grab another cup of coffee. Apparently, I need another cup of coffee. My giant mug wasn't good enough, but at any rate, here we go. I'm gonna dive right in. So, for those of you that are patient and waited on me, thank you. For those that kept me honest and kind of prodded me on Twitter or wherever, asking, hey, where's the show at? I appreciate it. I appreciate that you watch and notice. So here we are, Monday morning, giving you Friday's show. And we'll just have another one Friday and try to get back on track. The first thing I want to talk about is a nifty little PowerShell script that was released out to the TechNet gallery last week. It's actually, I think, on Saturday of the week prior, but it is Get-CsInstalledClient. And this is a cool PowerShell script that was put out on the TechNet gallery by Michael LaMontagne. His Twitter handle is @realtimeuc, so if you've seen that Twitter handle, interacted with him out there on Twitter, that's who we're talking about here. He is a MVP, Office Servers and Services MVP, and sharp guy, a lot of cool tools he's worked on, a lot of really good insight, good reviews on different products. And I haven't touched much on his stuff yet, and so it's time to talk a little bit about this to start, and just mention another thing he's worked on here recently that I took a look at and thought this is extremely useful, especially for a hybrid fan such as myself. Get-CsInstalledClient, what it does is it reads a list of computers from a text file that you're going to provide to it, and then it remotely reaches out and tries to figure out, or does figure out, what the installed product name and version is of the Link or Skype for Business client. It is so awesome that if it's not able to connect right away, it even tries to start the remote registry service. This is an awesome tool, especially for those of you who are regularly engaging and trying to figure out what's going on with numerous endpoints, and if you've got numerous versions of endpoints all throughout your org, geographically dispersed, big group of people, not close to where you can go take a look at their desktop. This tool is awesome for kind of getting a starting point of what are we looking at, what version of the product are we even talking about, and this gives you a good platform there. And of course you can move on to log analysis and things like that, but very cool script. If you haven't checked that out yet or saw that on Twitter, I'm going to provide you the link to his blog post on it, so you can go kind of read his thoughts on it. And in his blog post, he's got a link to where you can grab that on the TechNet gallery. So check that out, definitely. A second thing of Michael's that I wanted to point out was the bulk provisioning script that he put together here. This is bulk provisioning for Office 365 licenses and services here. So if many of you have come across this, if we're talking about thousands of users, a very large organization, even hundreds of users for that matter, and how to go into Office 365 and provision them all, get them all licensed properly. If you've gone through and licensed users in Office 365, you got to go in there and click a few times. You're not going to repeat that process, for hundreds or thousands of users. Scripting, PowerShell to the rescue, and Michael has put together an awesome script for that, for going out there, connecting to AD, testing it out, and then bulk provisioning. So excellent job. This is the kind of stuff that real true hybrid success is going to be made of. Thanks for providing that, Michael. That is also, I believe, out there on the gallery. And I'm going to provide 2 links. First to his Get-CsInstalledClient blog post, and the second one to his blog post on this bulk provisioning PowerShell script. And in each case, you'll be able to get a link to the gallery and check it out after reading his thoughts on it. So, well done, Michael. Thanks for the awesome stuff. And something I want to point out, the point of the show is to get community involvement, to get everyone to kind of to take part. If there's something that I might have missed or I'm not talking about and you guys think, hey, this is something we should know, I would love it if you threw that my way. I would love that feedback. I would love to know that there are things out there that, hey, we're watching the show, we like what you got to say, but maybe you glossed over this, or maybe you should touch on this a little bit more. I would love that. And Michael actually kind of let me know of a few things he was working on there, and that is perfect. You know, I get really busy sometimes. Some weeks are crazy. Sometimes I don't get through a very detailed list of everything that happened on Twitter. And having people help me out like that and giving me some really good contact and some really useful tools that we could all use, that is excellent. So please, if any of you are watching and you have something you'd like me to talk about, throw it my way. Let me check it out. And if it's something I think we need to put on this list, I definitely will. And we'll hit on that. So thanks again, Michael. Great work. Excellent stuff. One last thing about him, he will be the guest speaker on the next Skype show, which is episode 3, and it's going to be on March 14th. So if you haven't watched the first 2 episodes of Skype Show, the Skype Show, they are available on Channel 9, Microsoft's Channel 9, so that's pretty cool. And they will be doing their next show March 14th, 7 p.m. GMT time, and they do it via a Skype meeting broadcast. The link to the broadcast is available on their site. I'm going to provide a link to the blog post on their site for the upcoming episode 3, and you can grab the link there. But again, the Skype show, March 14th, 7 p.m. GMT. The usual suspects, I believe Corey Goodchild, Mark Vale, the guys putting this all together and coordinating the shows, the guests putting their own content out there, and then their guest, Michael LaMontagne, MVP. So awesome stuff. Check that out next week. The next thing that kind of came up was offline messaging. Now, this is something that a lot of people reshared a handy little screenshot of. It was there's not a whole lot of documentation or anything to find out there yet. We got a little preview of the fact that this was coming on the, what is that? Is it every couple weeks? I think it's greater than every month, but I think it's not every week. I think it's every couple weeks that the guys over at Microsoft, they do the Skype for Business broadcast, this video series, and they have their own YouTube channel. And normally you see Jamie Stark on there, and he is the the product manager over at Microsoft for Skype for Business. Normally he's on the show once in a while. It's a couple other people that are on there talking about different aspects of the product. But this last episode, I believe it was this last one they talked about some upcoming features, one of them being offline messaging. And this was a big deal. A lot of people were thrilled to see this was coming. The main pieces behind offline messaging are you can message contacts whether they are offline or not. So, and of course here we're talking about them being offline. I mean, if they're not offline, then it's not offline messaging. So that was kind of a silly thing to say. Anyway, message contacts when they're offline, you can message them. Those contacts can then read the missed messages in either their Skype for Business or Link client, probably Skype for Business, or in their email. So there's some Exchange integration, of course, being assumed there. Or on any, and they can do that on any device that supports offline messaging. It's probably not going to be all devices or all versions, when it first is released, but this was a big announcement, still in the works, still coming down the pipe. But just the knowledge that offline messaging is coming, so many people were so glad to see that. And I think it's probably, dare I say, one step closer to the death of voicemail. And I've heard a lot of talk lately of people that are just kind of like, why do we still have voicemail? What is the point of this? Does anyone even use voicemail? And of course some people do, but things like offline messaging kind of make voicemail a little less relevant. So this is a very exciting development and a very cool thing coming down the pipe. Another thing that I wanted to touch on here that was put out there last week is Greig Sheridan And Greg, if you're, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. The I in your name, your name is spelled Greig. And I'm like, am I supposed to, is this supposed to be pronounced Greig or something? So I'm just going with Greg. And I'm sorry if I got it wrong. I'm sorry. But yeah, he is an Office Servers and Services MVP based out of Australia. Cool guy, very active in the community. And he's put an update out to a tool that he's had out there, I guess, BounSky. BounSky.com, and it's BounSky.com. Of course, I'll have the link in the video description on YouTube. But this is a awesome tool that I had wish I had in the past and didn't know anything about, and I've downloaded it and I'm going to start kicking the tires. But essentially, for those of us that have multiple different environments, we test in. We have a test lab, we have our production area, we have our own personal Office 365, Skype for Business Online credentials that we want to play with, and we would like to not have to go to very different machines or log in and out constantly of our client to test out different things. This is a tool that you install locally alongside your client, and you can set up different profiles within this tool, and then it makes it as easy as clicking on a new profile within this tool, and boom, it logs you out of your Skype for Business client, and then logs you back in with this new profile, and it makes switching back and forth just that much more seamless and easy. So great tool. I'm going to include a link there. I love this. Sometimes the simplest things are the most life-saving things. This is awesome. So thanks for that contribution. That is an awesome little tool. Last thing I wanted to touch on here was Cloud Connector Edition, or what was previously known as Min Topology, as it was in the works. And it's actually still in the works. It's not fully GA yet. But for those of you that don't know and haven't listened to previous episodes or have talked about it or seen it yourself, Cloud Connector Edition for Skype for Business is a topology in which all your users are pretty much in Skype for Business Online. They're on the cloud, but you have an on-prem voice infrastructure. So you've got a PBX and people are calling. You got a good thing going with your voice provider. You don't want to let that go. You don't want to have your people in the cloud start using cloud PBX for Skype for Business. Maybe you want all your users in the cloud, but you want your voice infrastructure on-prem to stay. What you need to bridge that gap is some sort of Skype for Business, middleman piece there, and that's what Cloud Connector Edition is. It is a bundled up set of, I think, 4 VMs that get installed on a host in your on-prem environment. And there's no front end per se. There's a central management store role that's installed, but not a front end in the sense of users being homed on it. It's a dumbed down Skype for Business deployment. It essentially lets your users in the cloud be able to log into the cloud, do all their other workloads in the cloud, but for voice, they go authenticate to the cloud, and the cloud says, hey, your voice is actually back this way on-prem. So that's where all the signaling happens, is between the user up into the cloud and back down. But then the media itself goes directly from the client to the Cloud Connector Edition on-prem and then out to your voice infrastructure. So it does, your media doesn't have to traverse the cloud and come back down. Beautiful thing. Thomas Poett, another Office Servers and Services MVP, very active in the community again. He has put together a handy little PDF kind of going over all of the planning and migration scenarios, strategies, documentation, put them in an easy to consume format for primarily targeted at sales, pre-sales, and consultants. And so he put this out in the TechNet gallery for download, and it is a forward-looking document, as Cloud Connector Edition is not yet fully out there, but a great thing to start digging into. If you think that this is something your organization or your customers might be interested in deploying, or you just want to get a more well-rounded knowledge of this piece of the overall Skype for Business picture, check out this document, download it, and yeah, definitely get familiar with this. It's coming out soon here. So nice job on that, Thomas. Thanks for providing that work. That is awesome. I'm not sure if I've gone over on time here or not, but it's time to get to work. Got a busy Monday ahead of me, and need to get another cup of coffee and get to it. So again, most humble apologies for this being late. Thank you guys once again for keeping me honest and keeping me on track to get back up here with this episode. And I look forward to a busy week ahead and actually getting the next episode out Friday morning as usual. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for sharing, retweeting, all that good stuff. Thanks for subscribing on YouTube. And you guys have a great week. We will see you this coming Friday. And adios.